I don't know if it goes live back into the same feed or if it started a different live. So I just want to make sure we try to get to Chris's question here. Which newcomers do you see making a big impact? Bell, Powers, etc. Chris, man, I was looking through, and I think almost all the newcomers, even though they're coming in the summer, all the new guys coming in. Now, maybe I would say not to single somebody out, but there's a couple of guys that are just maybe more developmental, maybe playing a different position. Gilbert Edmond comes to mind, but all the other guys coming in the summer are going to have a chance. Now, to answer his question and sort of start to pin down who is it going to be? I think I've been told both of those receivers, Rico Powers and Ja'Cory Caldwell, have been told, "Hey guys, you better come ready to play. There's a chance for you here." I look at both tight ends, Jaheim Bell, who I think is going to sort of be maybe more of like a jumbo receiver / tight end, H back, however. He's going to play, I think. I've seen he's posted like videos and pictures. This dude looks like he has spent quarantine literally sleeping in a gym. Like he looked like he has not left the gym. So Jaheim Bell, Eric Shaw, everybody who follows anything we write or talk about knows we both think he's a freak athlete. So there's 4 for you right there on offense. I talked about Rashad Amos a few minutes ago. Then, flip it over to the defensive side. We all know Jordan Burch is going to have every chance to play. Can one of the other guys, Alex Huntley, Taka Hemingway, can they get into the mix as well? Can a Joey Hunter get into the mix in the defensive backfield? I think the last 3 guys, maybe I don't put their chances to play a bunch. Some of it's just due to circumstances at their position. I don't put them quite in the same category that I'm putting the guys I mentioned before. So the 4 offensive guys being Ja'Cory Caldwell, Rico Powers, Jaheim Bell, Eric Shaw, and then Jordan Burch on the defensive side. Those are the 5 that I would just sort of single out above the rest, not counting the guys who are already on campus, like your Marshawn Lloyds and stuff like that, of the guys coming in. Is there anybody you would add or subtract from that, Chris?
Yeah, and I'd say, guys on campus already too. Jason Turnitine, is a guy that is going to have a really good shot. But, yeah, those are the ones. But, yeah, just going with just the summer guys. The other one that comes to mind is, Kai Kroger, in terms of punting. I mean, you lose Joe Charlton, who was one of the best in the country. Some thought the most talented leg in the country. And he was really, really good. And so you got an opening there. And so Kroger, he's going to be a lefty. He's got sort of a different style, and he's going to have an opportunity. I think circumstances even more unique. He's not even just walking in as just a freshman now. It's a little more different even. But I think he'll have an opportunity. But the other ones, I think I would be in agreement with you there.
All right, but let's take one more question, Chris, and we'll get out of here because I think we lost our stream. Like it's back going. I can tell because we got another question, but I think it's a separate stream from the one that we linked and embedded everywhere. So we'll just save our other thoughts for next time. But Craig Godwin with the question. Thanks for joining us, Craig. Does Bell compare to Kyle Pitts at all? The tight end, I guess, at Florida. Do you see that comparison, Chris? And how big is Pitts?
Yeah, so Bell, I don't know if Bell's going to be quite as tall. Pitts coming out of high school was about 6'4" and 224. He's like 6'4", 225. Let's see, Rivals had him listed at 224, so whatever, no big difference there.
Now
but yeah,
6.
Yeah, so he grew apparently, but that probably means he's about 6'5", But he's a little bit of a bigger kid. Pitts looks a little bit more when you just look at him like an inline guy. Bell, he's I think gotten bigger, like you said, Wes. He's been working out so much, but I think he looks a little bit more. Bell does at the 6'2", 6'3" range, a little bit more like a wideout. But that is, in terms of skill set, I think a pretty good comparison because Florida does play Pitts a lot in that slot type position. And that's Bell's skill set. He's a guy that you can flex out there. He's not going to be really an inline type of tight end. Bell could even play receiver for you, probably. He's got that type of skill set. So I do think there's some similarities in that both guys are really going to be a big, asset in the passing game. Will Bell be 6'3", 240? Pitts listed at 6'6", 239. I don't know. He's certainly gotten bigger. I think Bell could be like a KC Crosby type in terms of how you use him, and there's some similarities with Pitts on that. But I think Bell's upside is probably higher from an athletic standpoint than Crosby's was. So he's a really intriguing prospect. And I think that's an interesting comparison.
Yeah, sometimes, Chris, I look at the guys like Bell. How much bigger will he get? Because some guys we see it all the time. Come in for a college weight program and they've never really been in a true standard, a true top level, I should say, strength and conditioning program. A guy like Bell, you look at him, you look at Valdosta, the number of guys they've put out over the years, and you can tell he knows the way to the gym. He knows the way to the weight room. So some of these guys come in and just blow up when they hit college, and I don't know necessarily if Jaheim's that guy. He already is very well progressed as far as his physical makeup. So we'll see that. That'll be an interesting thing to track. How big does he get once he gets to campus? All right, we'll get one more from Cartwright. Will Horn finally shut everyone up this year? I'm tired of hearing national analysts only talk about McQuamu because all they watched was the Georgia game. Horn is clearly the better corner. I think, and nothing against McQuamu, I think that he had a great game against Georgia, and the kid probably has an NFL future himself. But I think that when the scouts really dive in on Horn's tape this offseason, they're going to see that teams just don't throw at JC. Now, JC himself will tell you he missed a chance at, the North Carolina game. He missed a chance at a key interception. He had an interception against Florida, right? That got taken away because of a pass interference or a defensive hold. I'm pretty sure. So, yes, those are aspects here. Horn probably would tell you he wishes he had back. But the kid shuts down his side of the field most of the time. Teams don't test him. NFL teams, I think they know that, man. And again, it's nothing against McQuamu, but I do think as we sit here today, if you were to fast forward, if both those guys came out after their junior years, I think Horn would probably get drafted higher. Are we in agreement on that, or do you think it's close?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm in total agreement with you. I mean, I think that's really the only mark that you can, that you can put against Horn is that, hey, he hasn't gotten a pick yet. Now, some of that is his opportunities are certainly more limited. And Travaris Robinson talked about that during the spring. He said, man, we talked to him about it, and he's frustrated by it, having not having gotten an interception so far during his career. But it's all about just, hey, go get your hands on the next one and make the play. And certainly when you look at his length, his speed, his skill set, just his ability, I mean, your asset as a corner, can you cover? And he can cover. And so I think his upside is significant. I think he's a guy, Wes, that I think whenever he decides to come out, provided that he continues to progress and his career goes as we think it will, this is a guy that's probably going to go in the first few rounds of the draft. He's got a chance to go really high, I think. And so obviously when we're projecting it, it depends on how he plays this year, but I think he'll begin to get a little bit more love this year, particularly if South Carolina's defense as a whole plays well, because then part of it, when you're looking at media and what they look at. Same thing with McQuamie grabbing 3 interceptions. You get 3 interceptions in a game, people are going to put you on some lists and things like that. That's just the way it is. And so if you're a really good cover corner, even if you don't maybe have the stats, the interceptions, that would certainly help. But I think people recognize them even more this year under that scenario, and then the mock drafts will start coming out and things like that.
Definitely. All right, we do have one more question. Rutledge 123. What aspects of Bobo's offense are the guys most excited to see implemented? Which players do you think will thrive under the more timing-based throws and the mixed rushing attack? That's a good question. I mean, I go back to, again, Marshawn Lloyd, not to just be a broken record, but we've seen Bobo feature running backs heavily in the past and get them the football. So I think if you have a premier back from a skill set standpoint, this is a great offense for you to be in. It's going to be interesting to see the passing game. How much does it change? I don't think you're going to see wholesale changes within the passing attack. I think for the receivers and the passing game, it's just going to be about these guys continuing to improve their craft, not necessarily about the actual offensive scheme. But running game, I mean, I'm curious to see what all is different. I mean, at times towards the end of the year, Chris, I know the big thing to say was that Carolina didn't do enough different things in the running game. At times late in the year, it was just nothing they were doing was working. It felt like the offense was missing something. So I think you used the word confidence earlier. I think just interjecting a newfound – Bobo is a confident dude. He's an energetic dude. He's got a personality on him. I think he's one of those guys that the kids like being around him, but he also knows when to turn it up a little bit and really get on them. I think that aspect, trying to just rebuild their confidence that, hey, you can go play well at this level, is just as important as any scheme or play call or anything like that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think to throw my 2 cents in on the question, I think what Gamecock fans should be most excited about is Bobo's got a track record of just producing. Now, did he have a lot of talent at Georgia? Sure. But look, most good offenses, no, all of them. If you have a good defense or a good offense, you got good players. That's the bottom line. You can't be successful in college or the pro level or anywhere unless you have talent. Now, quality coaching helps, et cetera, but you've got talent. And so, look, he's got a track record of doing it. Georgia, Colorado State, they had some really good offensive years as well and produced some NFL players in that offense. They developed some guys and did a really good job with them at receiver and at quarterback, at running back, particularly receiver at Colorado State. So I think just having an offense where you've got multiple different things you can do. It's going to be a multiple offense. They can run shotgun. They can I formation. They'll have to figure out what they do best, of course. But I think just implementing some of those things that have been successful in the past, and honestly, maybe going to some more under center and I runs when college football has moved away from that a little bit. Maybe that ends up helping them a little bit. I think that'll be interesting. And players that can thrive. I think you look at any running back. Marshawn Lloyd. Ryan Helinski, I think this offense could be good for him because Bobo's had success with guys similar to him in the past. And I think it could reinstill some confidence and some production out of a guy like Shi Smith and some of these receivers that have not shown quite as much yet in their careers.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And, you got to have talent. But then, it's got to all come together. One wording that people have used to me has been that Mike Bobo has answers. And what that means in this context is that when a defense, maybe an opponent comes in and does something completely different from what they game plan for, that makes an adjustment to what you're doing, makes a tweak that you weren't expecting. Within his offense, he has answers to everything that a defense may throw at you. And I think that was something. Anytime you have a young coordinator, a young play caller who is seeing sometimes things for the first time, maybe the adjustments aren't there. And I think we've seen South Carolina's offense the last couple of years years have some really good moments, like great game plans, explosive game plan, and then it just not work out. And then in other cases, and then there not being an answer to what they were presented. So I think that's something for South Carolina fans to just be excited about would be the potential adjustments that we could see from the offense from drive to drive within a game. All right, one more. Bryce Amick, who's the next 2021 recruit you have your eye on or that fans should be tracking? I'm trying to think, who should we be paying attention to right now?
I mean, one that might come to mind is Derwin Burgess out of Georgia. He's sort of on the board. He's an athlete type, but probably a wide receiver. And he's someone that has South Carolina. He doesn't really have a lead group, but they're one of the schools that are recruiting him the hardest. Taught with him recently at the first school out of his mouth, and he's considering, it's not locked in, but he's considering making a decision in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if I had to pick a guy, that would probably be the direction I'd go.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole, someone to keep an eye on as well. I think linebacker out of North Carolina. By the way, if you're a film watcher, go watch this dude's film. I think Jordan Poole is the Division I running back as well, if he wanted to be. He's being recruited as a linebacker, but the kid is a monster, and someone in South Carolina would love to add to their linebacker class. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to kill it right now. We're going to end it, but lots of questions. We appreciate it. What did you think of the Restream platform, Chris?
Yeah, Restream was pretty cool. I think we should try it some more.
Yeah, Zoom didn't do us well today, so we left and went to Restream, and I think it worked out. So, all right, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. Once we hit 3,000, I'm going to give away something free. And if you are not a subscriber to Gamecock Central, we've got a free deal going right now. Use the promo code Gamecocks2020, and we can get you hooked up there with free access from now until August 1st, which hopefully means the kickoff of preseason practice. If everything goes as planned, that first week of August is generally when South Carolina will be kicking off preseason practice. So appreciate all the questions. Appreciate y'all joining us. Appreciate you supporting our content. For Chris, I'm Wes, and we'll see you next time.